Hello, hi, welcome. My name's Ren, and today, as you can see, we're back with another sketchbook tour. This one might be on the longer side again because this is a very big boy. So let's get right into it. I started this one last year in June and finished it about a month ago at the beginning of March. So let's see what's all in here. When I started this, I thought these characters would be in here a lot more. These are OCs, of course. That's most of what's in here, frankly. These are Emilia and Imogen. They are main characters of a comic I have been working on for years, or that I've had on the back burner for years. And last year was supposed to be the year I was actually going to draw the thing, and then that didn't happen. But at the beginning of the sketchbook, I was really convinced I was gonna draw them a lot, and then I didn't. But yeah, this is also something I do a lot. This is basically just going through my Pinterest homepage and drawing the first animals I come across. When I started the sketchbook, I was very motivated to make this one look nice and finish up my sketches. Well, we'll see how long that lasted. But yeah, another thing that's going to be in this sketchbook a lot is just doodles of my OCs. I was in the process of writing the first draft, finishing the first draft of a novel I was working on. So these are all characters from that, and I often use my sketchbook as kind of like a focus while I'm just thinking through scenes or thinking about characters. So I'll just be doodling them without having to think much about the drawings. So the drawings are pretty basic because they're just there to be like a little bit of a concentration aid while I'm trying to figure out plot stuff. Yeah. This is something totally different. These are just me vaguely thinking about character designs for other stories I want to work on in the future, but have not gotten to yet. Let's put it like this. More doodles of one of the characters from that first draft I was talking about. Her name's Eleanor. She's in here a lot because I've been thinking about her a lot. She's not actually in the story a lot. It's a murder mystery, and she's the murder victim. So she's only indirectly in the story. Let's put it like this. What I also did a lot in this was just doing studies from pose references, because I feel like every time I skip out on those, my skill nosedives. So it's something I have to keep up and like use it or lose it. If I don't practice, I will get so much worse. Some studies of the nefarious pine marten, one of the cutest animals ever. I love these guys. They are so cute. And these guys. I recently made a fairly long video talking about these characters. This is Velia, Matthew, Eileen, Killian. They are all protagonists of a webcomic I was spending a lot of time on planning out, but never actually made. And yeah, I had decided I was going to finally free myself and give up on it entirely. But I did want to make a video talking about it, mostly because one of my friends has asked me for years to give her all the lore, and I never got around to that, so that's what that video was for. It took me a long while to actually get it all together, but it is out now. So, but that's why I've been drawing those characters reoccurringly in this book too. As I said, I was writing the script for that, and while I was thinking about the characters, it helped me to focus my thoughts, to be doodling them at the same time. Emilia and Imogen again, it's very, very symbolic of how much I did not work on that comic. I was like, oh, I'm going to go back later and fix it. And then I never went back to finish this. So it says a lot about my priorities. More animals from my Pinterest front page. It's a very, very funny mix. And dragons. I love dragons. I think I say this every time I have a dragon in a sketchbook tour, but I'm not very good at drawing dragons. I want to learn to draw really cool dragons from imagination. So currently I'm still in the stage where I'm just copying other people's art to get a feel for what they're supposed to look like to eventually get there. But yeah, I also didn't do that much in there, but one of my resolutions for the year is also to improve my dragon skills. These are all doodles for side characters, either important or mostly relevant, that are also from that comic, Puppet Strings, that I never ended up making. I was just doodling all of them, trying to consider who I wanted to include in the video because I knew I couldn't do everyone. That thing is already way too long, and I mentioned maybe half of the whole cast that I had come up with over the years. But yeah. More studies from the Pinterest front page. I really like this chicken. I think it's very cute. I don't draw chickens a lot. I feel like I mostly draw like small songbirds that you see around, like robins and stuff. I don't know. Something to put on my list of things to draw when I don't know what to draw, I guess. Just some revisiting an old character design. I like doing that. I actually really enjoy character design. I would not say I'm particularly good at it, but it's something I find fun. So I like going back to very old drawings and looking at old characters of mine and just giving them a revamp in a certain way, and that it's a fun little activity for me. Ooh, this is this is like a warning signal, because in the later part of the sketchbooks there's also going to be a lot of Pokemon stuff, because after like the halfway point of the year I got really into the Pokemon zone again. This is like the first portent of what's to come. This is my character Max, is like a baby trainer, and then later on when they dress like an insane person like many people in the Pokemon universe do. It's actually really funny. If you look at character designs from Pokemon, a lot of them just look like normal people, and then you have like a tiny fraction that dresses insane. And I love those. I love all of them. But it's a very funny contrast that exists there. More doodling characters from my novel. And this is more character designs for a story I eventually want to write, but that would require a lot of research up front, which I just don't have the time or interest in doing right now, so I'm just daydreaming a bit about the characters. This is like a really, really low effort page, but it was very fun still. I was basically just swatching out all the text markers I have, and then I gave them silly faces because that was cute to me. And I was very exhausted. I think this was a part of the year where I was just extremely tired all the time. So there's a lot more lower effort sketches in here as well. These are two of my demon OCs, Lucifer and Lilith. I have had these for forever. They're like emotional support that I have dragged around with me since I was like 13 or something. It's very... God, I'm old. They've been there for over 1.5 decades now. And then I got a little bit bored of pens, and I got out my watercolors again. This paper is like kind of hit or miss with watercolor. I don't know how well it picks up texture, but you can see up here, it looks perfectly fine, even with like a lot of water and a wash. But down here, it has this weird speckled texture that looks awful. And I don't know why this happens sometimes and not other times. It's a total mystery to me. This paper is very unreliable, I feel like, when it comes to watercolor. And then, as I said, I was entering the Pokemon zone. These I did the silhouettes with watercolor, and then I went over it with brush pen for the lines. This was very relaxing, but you can see for some of them I didn't really wait for the watercolor to dry properly, so they very running into each other. It's very blurry in a bad way, some might say. But I really love this one. This is one of my favorite Quagsires I think I've ever drawn. I love this guy. He looks so happy. And this is another page that I would describe as not my favorite. So we're moving on. More doodles of characters from my novel that I've been working on. And here I was just playing around with some new tombos I had gotten. I think these looked really nice all together, so I was just kind of exploring how they look together, trying not to branch out to other pens I also owned, just to see how far I could get with these 4 colors. It's kind of fun. This is one of those pages. I feel like I cannot be the only one who experiences this. Sometimes you want to draw and you're trying to draw, but nothing turns out well. I was giving it my all. I was like, hey, let's take out the brush pen. Let's just try. I haven't drawn in a few days. I want to get something down. Awful page. None of this looks good, but it helps. Sometimes you just have to get the bad drawings out before you can move on to better drawings. Because I was kind of lost in the sauce. I was like, okay, maybe I can, get something like inspiration going again if I try a different drawing utensil. These are done with like a charcoal stick I had. And then this continued. There's actually a few days in between these because this something I made while I was on a vacation at the Baltic Sea with a friend. These are based on photos I took there myself. These are not drawn from there because it was basically sunset time and it was cold and very windy. But yeah, I didn't draw on this page because I was scared it would rub off too much. And then just some random drawings because I was like, I want to draw. I need to just get the drawings, and they don't need to be good. I just need to draw something. And then I went and drew some more cats. I love this guy. Look at him shape. But yeah, cats are also a thing, kind of like dragons, that I have loved for a long time, but never been very good at. So I've been trying to practice that more because I do want to be able to draw cats just from imagination because I love them. These are, well, this, I don't think, I can barely see it like this. This was actually drawn from life. This is the same scene I took a photo for posterity, basically. And then I went in with markers to do a version of it at home. Yeah, trying to draw from life is really hard. I really struggle with deciding what is important and what's not important. I really admire people who are good at stylizing, especially natural environments. There's just so much going on all the time. But after working very hard and having my mind engaged, I was just like, let's just draw random characters. Let's practice drawing some random guys. Just slap down the marker in a shape and then go over it with a pen. Whatever. It doesn't have to be good. This was also one of those pages where I was extremely tired, but I was like, oh, I want to draw something. Let's just try layering my different brush pens and text markers, and the result is not what I would describe as ideal, but I did get something onto the page, so that's cool. More Valia. I still love her a lot, even though I have given up on the comic by this point. It's just, she's been in basically every sketchbook I've ever had since after her, original inception. But she's been in basically everything because she's very in my comfort zone to draw. I just like her a lot. She's very cute. Again, Killian and Eileen. These were also done while I was working on the script for the video, just, again, thinking about the characters while doodling them. And then these are more of my demon characters, Belphegor and Asmodeus. I have a lot of characters. Every time I do a sketchbook tour, I'm like, is it worth it naming all these characters? Because there's so fucking many every time. Here I had a moment of regret where I realized I was not getting that comic done this year either. So I was just like, let's just draw Amelia and Imogen again. Just, just to have them drawn a little bit more, even though the actual thing I wanted to do didn't happen. More cats from reference, because again, as I said, I want to improve at cats because I love cats. These were not from reference, I think, and then I got out references again because I am not good at cats without reference yet. Especially the face. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it wrong, certainly. And this is New Year's Eve. One last page of Velia before the new year. Some more characters from Puppet Strings, and then 2026 starts. Because I was very much using pens a lot, I was like, you know what, I haven't touched pencils in a while, and I have a bunch lying around, so I can just go and play with these again. And that was really fun. I forgot how much I enjoy pencils, especially like blending it out and doing some nice layering. I missed this. Again, these were more basically doodles I was working on while I was thinking through the script and thinking through these characters, Marvelia and Eileen. I really like this one. Actually, I like both of these. I like this spread a lot. I remember having a lot of fun doing this one. And then I had a bit of a pencil phase for a few days. Again, these are characters for a project that I have no idea if I'll ever get to, but I enjoy character design, so I will just draw random guys now and again. More of that. And now we're hitting what I would call the second part of the sketchbook, because this is the part, actually I can leave this in here, where we're getting into the Ohuhu brush pens. Long story short, years ago, because it was on sale and very cheap, I got a 100 marker set from the Ohuhu brush pens. Basically almost immediately regretted it, but I've had them now for years and I barely use them, so I was like, you know what, let's just try and use as many of these up as I can in a month. I didn't use them up in a month. I extended my deadline, but they are all gone now. And my takeaway is they are bad. Don't buy them. Do not bother. They're genuinely not good. But I learned a lot while using them, so at least I got something out of them. More cats to practice. Here I had some ambitious layering ideas with these colors, which is not it. I had a horrible time and then I immediately gave up and went back to how I just also layer my text markers and everything while drawing. So getting into a more boring section here, doing some portrait studies, because if I don't do portrait studies regularly, I forget how to draw faces and they start looking weirder and weirder. And here I did a test on how well the Ohuhu markers can be activated with water, because they're water-based, and surprisingly they activate it really well, actually better than some pens I have that are actually advertised as being extremely water-soluble. It's okay. But yeah, I thought this was very promising. I did it a bit over here, but ultimately I didn't like how long it takes to dry, so I didn't really do anything with this kind of technique in the rest of the book. I was just doing more random character doodles, imagining, and then because I've been talking about improving dragons, drawing some lizards, because a lot of dragons and dragon designs are based off of lizards, and I'm not good at lizards either, so very informative in some way. You can tell, this is one of my pet peeves with these markers, but can you tell how thick some of these lines are? These markers lose the integrity for their tip really quickly, so eventually you just can't do thin lines no matter how lightly you press. It's very, very frustrating. But yeah, same with faces, doing more pose studies, more full body drawings based on reference, again, because otherwise I'll forget what the human body looks like in movement or while standing still. I have been trying to incorporate some more unusual perspectives, some more motion into the images I draw from, just because I do think that's something I'm not good at yet and actually need the practice with. But they're much harder to find. It's very easy to find very basic pose references, but if you want either dynamic angles or dynamic poses, it gets more difficult. But here's more cats, because I love cats. I really feel like I learned a lot about cats in this one because I was drawing a lot of them. Here I was revisiting an old Uber Gijin cat that I did years ago. I didn't love how that design turned out in the end, so I was like, okay, what things would I tweak? How would I change things? So that's this page, and then we're back. We're back in Cat City. This was actually super fun to do. It was basically just drawing silhouettes of cats from reference and doing them very quickly. Like they're all 1 minute or less. And that was super informative. I got the idea from another artist I saw do it, and they recommended it. And I have to say, I also recommend this. This is really fun. And because they're so quick, you don't think that much about it, but you get a lot of muscle memory for how these animals move or what kind of shapes they're made up of. So that's really interesting. Also practicing some human interactions from reference photos. I am so bad at this. God, the more you try to do complex things with your own drawings, the more respect you get for all the people who can do it, because all this shit is so hard, man. I don't know how they do it. I am flabbergasted. Some people, man, some people have incredible skill. I'm not there yet, but maybe in like 20 years. Who knows? But yeah, we're back in the Pokemon building once again, studying some designs for Cynthia that are official, and then just playing with my own. She's iconic. Pokemon Pro was, I think, the first game that not the first one I played, but the first one I owned my own copy of and that I could play on my own Game Boy. Before that, I had to borrow my brother's, which was not available a lot because he was also using it a lot to play. But yeah, I have extremely fond memories of that game. Almost as fond as I am of cats. No. But yeah, I was thinking a lot actually about making my own Pokemon character for a new playthrough I started. That's actually based on one I designed first when the Diamond and Pearl remakes came out. They were not good, but I did play them because nostalgia got me. But then I went back to my DS version, and I liked that one much better. But yeah, I was just studying the official designs from the games to see how I wanted to design my own character and what some of the design rules were and stuff, so that it would actually fit into the universe. And what I learned is that you can basically do whatever. If you draw a character, no matter the outfit, in the official art style that the sprites and stuff are drawn in, it'll look fine. There are no rules for what these people could wear. They can wear totally normal stuff, or they can be dressed as if they're at an avant-garde fashion show. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever. But yeah, this is my little guy. This is James. I was workshopping my design for them back and forth. But yeah, that's my little guy. I love him. I also love Turtwig a lot. It's my favorite starter from that gen by far. He's a little turtle. What more could you want? He's so cute. I love him. And he turns into a giant turtle. even better. The more turtle, the better. But yeah, drawing other other Pokemon you see early in that game, and drawing some of the other characters from there. Again, I was thinking about how I would approach like turning it into my own sort of narrative, because like there's not that much story in the games, right? So I was like, well, we can tweak this to make it more fun for me now, because in story the player character is like a child, because obviously it's a game for kids. I was like, I don't want to make a child character. How would I change the world? What would I do with this sandbox to make it work for the kind of story I would like to make for my character, right? So I've just been thinking about that while drawing these, designing some other outfit for James, having fun. And then I think this was a big turning point, because this was the first drawing where I really started layering these pens and trying to layer different colors over each other in a way I didn't normally do. And I had so much fun doing this that I was like, you know what? I should do more of this. I should make more of an effort, right? And also, if I layer them more and I fill in my backgrounds, then I can use up these pens faster, because the longer I was using them, the less I liked them. But yeah, doing had some initial thoughts on what I would do with the Quagsire Gijenka. But yeah, here is where I started layering much more, even in my sketches. I really like the color combinations in these, which is unusual for me because I'm not huge on green or orange. And this has both. So, it's a lot going on here. But yeah, no, I did really enjoy making this page, so I kept layering more and more. After a short break, we're back in the Pokemon building again. My character Max, they're from a homebrew D&D thing that I haven't played for years, but I've kept my character. Max was my player character. They are a silly little guy, and of course, I had to turn them into a Pokemon trainer because I was lost in the Pokemon sauce, as you can see. I love Cloudsire. I haven't played those games yet, and probably never will, because Pokemon games are so expensive and it doesn't look all that good. I have been burned by Sword and Shield, and after that I was like, unless I hear really, really good reviews about the next one, I am not spending that money, and the reviews were not good. So I didn't buy that one. 70 years are just too much for a Pokemon game. This page though. So I had just come off the real high of these two pages where I was layering and I was having the time of my life. Everything was going on. This page, I don't think I have a photo of how it looked originally, but the first pass on this page, I hated this. I hated this so much. It was a lot of dark green and red, and I don't like these colors together. It was awful. And then I came back later, like a week later or something, and layered over it wildly with so many more colors. And I hate it less now, is how I would describe my relationship to this page. But I certainly don't like it. It's my least favorite page, I think, in this entire thing. Was doodling some characters from a book series I like. Again, I was just thinking about it, and I was like, well, while I'm thinking, I might as well just draw the characters, and then from that, I went to just doodling random characters. Sometimes, you just want to draw, but you don't want to think, so it's just like, let's just draw whatever, and that's also why this page looks so unfinished. Eventually, I was like, well, I don't really like where we're going with this, so I'm just gonna stop. And then I never came back to it. There's a lot of moments where I'm like, well, maybe I'll go back and fix it later. And on occasion I will, but most of the time I'm like, yeah. If enough time has passed, I'm like, I don't want to go back. I can just draw something new that I like more. And that's typically how it goes. Another one of my demons. This one has plant-based powers. And because I was already in the plant house, I thought, let's draw some from reference. I had such a good time drawing other things from reference, but then I was like, nah, with these markers, this is a nightmare experience. I hate this. So I stopped on flowers, tried to do more leaves. I like the leaves better, but I also did not love this, so I gave up. But I did more studies. Again, as I've mentioned, I wanted to do more unusual angles, or at least a bit more dynamic, because just having the standard, just even angle, it gets boring. It really gets boring. And I was like, well, I know how to draw in that angle, but from other views, it's a lot harder. And now the intermission's over, and we're back in Pokemon Town. It's really funny. It keeps going back and forth. I'm like, let's do something else. And then my brain's like, oh, but have we thought about Pokemon today? And then I'm like, no, we haven't. Let's go back. Absol, I love Absol. It's such a charmingly emo Pokemon. Of course, it appeals to me. I also love the Mega. It's really fucking good. Some of the Mega evolutions I look at and I go, I don't know, Chief. I don't love this, but this one's a banger. I'm gonna hand it to them. More James and their rival character, which I haven't named yet. They are both zero brain cell enjoyers. They're both very silly. And more Pokemon. Of course. This might be one of my favorite pages overall. I have realized that I get bored if I just draw the characters standing there, because there's only so much you can do with that. But often I don't make the effort to think of something more interesting to do, so I'll have a bunch of drawings where I'm like, this is kind of boring. Why did I draw this? But this page, I was like, no, I want to draw more like character interactions, so we have a lot of James with their Turtwig, which, by the way, is named Crumble after their favorite dessert. Because James is just a silly guy. And they are best friends, and they are both very silly, and yeah. Drawing them together was so cute. I really, really love this page. But yeah, and then after that page, I had realized I had never actually drawn a complete color version of James's outfit, so I was like, well, we gotta fix that. So that's what this page is. And with the post-it, you can tell I had fucked up the face on my first go through. That's fine. That's what the post-its are for. And around this time was also when I decided that I really was not liking these pens. Like, I could make art with them that I liked, but overall I did not enjoy the experience. And I was pretty sure that if I didn't use them up in this round, I would just put them away and then never touch them again. So I was like, we might as well try to go all in, try to use them up. And here I still had delusions of doing it within the sketchbook that didn't pan out. It took me a number of pages in a new sketchbook too, but I thought, what's a good way to use up a lot of pens, to fill a lot of space on a page, to layer them a lot? And I was like, you know what? We should do some environment studies, because that's also something you're not very good at. So that's what I did. That's what the next few spreads are. These are all loosely based on drawings from other people, but they're not the same. So I was just mostly getting inspiration and some vague reference, and then I just went ham. Because a lot of them I got from Pinterest, but as you know, a lot of Pinterest images are very long, and these are very wide, so I had to rearrange a lot of elements in the images I found. But yeah, there is one thing I can definitely say, that I used up a lot of markers with this, for sure. It was indeed a very good way to get where I was going, and on top of that, I learned a lot. I think I learned a lot, about environments, just from drawing a lot in a short period of time. But I also learned a lot about layering these markers, which I hadn't done quite as much before. So this was actually a super smart choice, and I had a really good time doing it. And I also really like the spreads. But the sketchbook was almost over. I had to recognize it was not going to happen, and also I had gotten a bit bored of landscapes, so I went back to cats one last time. This time I didn't just do the silhouettes, I also went in and did some shading and details with other colors. This one I accidentally drew too big, so I had to extend the page further down. And now we're getting to the last spread, which was a lot. I sat on this for a long time. And this was conceived in part in order to use up a lot of the pens, but also to just apply a lot of the things I'd learned about layering them. And I wanted something that looked cool. And I think it looks good enough, but I also remember being very frustrated because at many points the pens would run out, but they would run out before I had finished drawing in the part that I was working on. So I had to keep improvising with new colors and changing up what I was working with. So it doesn't quite look how I would have liked it to look, but also it was very fun to work on. So I can't be too mad. But yeah, this was on the 1st of March, and then yeah, just some scribbling, some pen testing. I used this while doing the environments because sometimes if the paper was still too wet from one of the other pens, it would look like a pen was empty. So I needed a paper to test them on. And that was that. So that's why it lives in here. But yeah, that is it. Another one down. Thank you for sticking around all the way to the end. As always, I would love to hear about your favorite pages. My favorite pages are either one of the environment spreads or the page with James and Crumble. But yeah, I hope you had a good time. I did. And also, I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you around.